welcome you watching the Monday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, I come to you with three special stories, starting with a deep investigation with regards to the killer cough syrup. Who exactly is behind this entire manufacturer? Who exactly is backing it? And what's the real story? Not just this, 58-year-old US citizen has been arrested in the state of Maharashtra for conversion. And he was in the country for the last 5 years. All the details on This Is Exclusive, but up first let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Republic deep dives into killer cough syrup, uncovers how Tamil Nadu-based pharma company faked addresses to get licenses. Three persons, including a United States citizen, arrested for alleged illegal religious conversions in Maharashtra's Bhiwandi. Complainant exposes conspiracy.
के चुनाव 2 फेजेस में होंगे। डेट ऑफ पोल 6 नवंबर थर्सडे और दूसरा 11 नवंबर ट्यूसडे। काउंटिंग 14 नवंबर को होगी।
Election Commission announces the dates for Bihar polls. Two-phase polling to be held on 6th and 11th of November. Results on 14th of November. Amid stalemate over Israel-Hamas ceasefire talks, Palestinian ambassador speaks out on the truce plan. India issues no time for missile test in Bay of Bengal between 15th and 17th of October for a maximum range of 480 kilometers. Ladies and gentlemen, a chilling conspiracy is unfolding in Maharashtra's Bhiwandi, where a sophisticated and a sinister conversion racket has been exposed, targeting the most vulnerable, the Adivasi families of the bullshit village. At the center of the scandal is a man called James Watson. He is a US citizen, now under arrest alongside his Indian accomplices. Accused of exploiting faith, this trio allegedly used foreign funding and manipulative tactics to lure an entire community into abandoning their beliefs. What began as an innocent quote-unquote prayer event has now unraveled into a calculated plot caught on tape, sparking outrage and a sweeping crackdown across Thane and Palghar districts. Here's the full story, and then we bring you the exclusive here. The man who witnessed all of this, the man who has exposed this conversion racket.
In Maharashtra's Bhiwandi, a brazen attempt to convert vulnerable tribal families to Christianity has been busted. Hindutva activists and local police have arrested 3 individuals, including a US citizen with deep ties to American missionary networks. Police say he and his accomplices preyed on ignorance, offering quote-unquote divine miracles and wealth in exchange for faith. The fallout? A community on high alert and a crackdown that's rippling across Thane and Palghar districts. It started innocently. A prayer event in front of Manoj Govind Kola's home in Bushiet village. James Watson, along with Indian accomplices Sainath Ganpati Sarpe and Kolha himself, gathered women, men and even children from the Adivasi farming community. They read from imported books, preached about Jesus Christ.
जो 2 दिन पहले जो घटना हुई अपने भिवंडी में, जो आदिवासी पाड़े में जाके जो वनवासी लोग रहते हैं उन लोग को ये लोग कन्वर्ट करने का काम करते हैं। तो ये लोग इस तरह से करते हैं कि पहले ये गरीब लोगों को टारगेट करते हैं, फिर इन लोग को ये लोग धीरे धीरे बच्चे लोगों को छोटे छोटे ट्यूशन्स देते हैं, जब इन लोग को लगता है कि इनके बच्चे लोग ज़रा इंग्लिश में थोड़ी बहुत बात करने सीखने लग जाते हैं, दैन आफ्टर इनको ये थोड़ा बहुत खाने पीने को देते हैं, फिर इनको धीरे धीरे इन लोग देना बंद कर देते हैं। फिर ये लोग बोलते हैं क्यों ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं, अभी पहले आप आते थे अभी क्यों नहीं आ रहे हो। तो फिर ये लोग इनको बताते कि नहीं, अभी हमको ऊपर से ऑर्डर्स आए हैं, अभी हम लोग आपको नहीं दे सकता, ये हमारे संस्था का काम है, ये सिर्फ हम लोग जो क्रिश्चियन कम्युनिटी है उन लोग को ही दे सकते हैं। इसी बहाने से फिर ये क्या गरीब लोग कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं, वो लोग बेचारे भोले भाले रहते हैं।
Republic is the first to get an exclusive response from the complainant, who sheds light on a deep conspiracy.
जब देखा तब वैटसन वहाँ पे बैठा था, साइनत सर पे करके, जो वैटसन इंग्लिश में बता रहा था उनको, उसके भाषा में उसका ट्रांसलेशन साइनत सर पे कर रहा था, और मनोज कोल्ला बाजू में था, और 30 से 40 छोटे बच्चे, बड़े और अपने महिलाएं ऐसे बैठी थी सामने। वो भगवान को, हिंदू भगवान को गालियाँ दे रहे थे, गंदी गंदी गालियाँ दे रहे थे। ये तुम्हारा भगवान ये राक्षस है, ये भगवान नहीं है, यीशु एक ही मसीहा है जो सबको तार सकता है, ऐसा करके वहाँ पे बता रहे थे। और उनको वहाँ पे पानी जो वाइन्स है वो वाइन्स पिलाया जा रहा था, उनको धर्मांतरण करके, और बपतिस्मा का कार्यक्रम वहाँ पे रखा था।
A court has now sent the prime accused to 14-day judicial custody. The police told the court that they need to examine the mobile phone of the accused, American citizen James Watson, and other digital documents. As investigation remains underway, the focus is to determine the connections he has with the accused and the people he has met.
Well, in fact, I'm going to just take you through some of those images that have now gone viral. What you see on your screen is a man who accosted this James Watson, 58-year-old US citizen, and that happens to be Sandeep Bhagat. Sandeep जी, बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद रिपब्लिक टीवी से बात करने के लिए। सबसे पहले आपसे जानना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि आप उस दिन वहाँ पहुँचे, आप जेम्स वॉटसन को आपने देखा, और आपने इस पूरे ये जो कन्वर्जन रैकेट, इसको आपने एक तरह से भांडा फोड़ किया है। सबसे पहले आपसे जानना चाहूंगा, जब आप वहां पहुंचे आपने क्या देखा?
वहां पे हम लोग जब गए तो पैटसन वहां पे बैठे थे, तैनात सर पे करके जो वसी गोखरा के है, वो बैटसन जो बता रहे थे उसका ट्रांसलेशन वो मराठी में करके बता रहे थे, और मनोज कोल्ला उनके बाजू में बैठे। सामने 30 से 40 जो है वो लोग बैठे थे, उस छोटे बच्चे, महिलाएं, पुरुष, ऐसे सब सामने थे, और उनको सिखा रहा था क्या हिंदू देव देवता जो है वो शैतान रहते, उनमें शैतानियत रहती है, वो बराबर नहीं है। आप वहाँ पे हिंदू धर्म में नहीं है तो क्रिश्चियन धर्म यही महान है, और इसके लिए आप जो है वो क्रिश्चियन। तो हमने जब ये सब देखा, और बाद में जो वहां पे बैठे थे उनको वो जो वाइन थी वो वाइन पिलाई जा रही थी, और ये जो 4 लड़कियां उठ के जाने लगी तो वैटसन जो है, जेम्स वैटसन, उनको रोका उन्होंने बैठ, और बाद में उनके इधर मस्तिष्क पे, सिर पे हाथ रख के उन्होंने बोला कि आप इधर से जा नहीं सकते हो, आपके अंदर जो है वो अभी यीशु का वास हो गया है, भगवान का, आप यहाँ से जा नहीं सकते हो, आपके अंदर ईश्वर आ गया है, तो इसके लिए आप यहीं पे अभी आपको रुकना पड़ेगा, आपका बपतिस्मा हो गया है। तो बपतिस्मा करके उन्होंने वो किया।
क्या उसमें आप ही थे? ये जो तस्वीर हम दिखा रहे हैं जब आप लोगों से बात कर रहे हैं, क्या इस तस्वीर में आप ही हैं?
हाँ, मैं हूँ ना, इस तस्वीर में मैं हूँ, तो ब्लू शर्ट वाला वो मैं।
ये जेम्स वॉटसन कौन है? क्योंकि कई लोग ये अटकलें लगा रहे हैं कि ये यूएस मिलिट्री में काम कर चुका है पहले, पर अगर पुलिस के अगर दस्तावेज देखें तो कहीं पे भी वो यही नहीं लिखना चाहते कि ये यूएस मिलिट्री के साथ एक समय रह चुका है। क्या ये सही है कि जेम्स वॉटसन यूएस मिलिट्री के साथ था? क्या आपके पास कोई जानकारी है, कोई पुष्टि कर सकते हैं इसके बारे में?
हमारे पास नहीं है। हमारे पास जो जानकारी है वो है क्या 2016 में जेम्स वॉटसन अमेरिका से भारत में आया, तब उसका जो वीज़ा है वो टूरिस्ट वीज़ा था। टूरिस्ट वीज़ा के बाद उसने इंजीनियरिंग एक कंपनी है उसमें ज्वाइन हो करके दिखाया और बिजनेस वीज़ा किया। बिजनेस वीज़ा करके वो यहाँ पे रह रहा था, और बाद में उसने जो है वो बिजनेस वीज़ा करके, उसका वीज़ा भी अभी कुछ तो पासपोर्ट या वीज़ा उसका ख़त्म हुआ है 4 महीने पहले। 4 या 6 महीने पहले, तो उसने रिन्यूअल के लिए डाला है। अभी तक रिन्यूअल भी उसका नहीं आया है। और यहाँ पे वो उसके नाम पे वो धार्मिक जो है वो शिक्षा धार्मिक कन्वर्शन के लिए वो सभी जगह पे घूमता था। जैसे महाराष्ट्र, और मालूमात चली है कि महाराष्ट्र के बाहर के राज्य है उसमें भी वो जा चुका है अभी तक। और इसके लिए उसका नेटवर्क जो है वो बड़ा है, क्योंकि साईनाथ सर पे मनोज कोल्हा, ये जेम्स वैटसन की पत्नी, फिर मनोज की पत्नी, साईनाथ सरपे की पत्नी, ये सभी जन जो है वो सभी जन यही काम करते हैं दिन भर, कन्वर्शन करने का, लोगों को पैसा देने का, लोगों को आमिष देने का और कन्वर्शन करने का। इसी काम में उनका बहुत बड़ा सा नेटवर्क जो है वो काम करता है।
संदीप जी, एक आखिरी सवाल करना चाहूंगा।
वो डायरी में वो वानगांव पालघर में वो जाते थे, वानगांव पालघर में वो गए हैं, रायगढ़ में बोरली करके है वहां पे वो गए हैं, प्रार्थना कहाँ पे लेते हैं उसकी जानकारी भी है, कैसे लेते हैं, कौन लोग आते हैं उनके भी।
संदीप जी, क्या वो कोई संगठन के साथ जुड़ा हुआ था? जेम्स वॉटसन क्या कोई संगठन के साथ जुड़ा हुआ था और साथ ही साथ उनका प्रचार कर रहा था? इसके बारे में कोई जानकारी है आपके पास?
जेम्स वॉटसन जो है वो वही जो साईनाथ सरपे का जो ये है, साईनाथ सरपे की जो अभी जो पकड़ा है वो जो संस्था है, जो साईनाथ उसका काम करता था, वही संस्था में वो भी काम करता है। क्योंकि वो बार 3-4 बार मेरे हिसाब से वहां के लोगों ने बताया कि कम एक बार नहीं आया कि 2-3 बार वहां पे आके गए हैं। यानी कि वो जो बता रहे हैं लोग कि एक बार उनको मेहमान करके बुलाया, तो ऐसा नहीं है, वो बहुत बार वहां पे आ गया है। और बहुत सारे ऐसे जानकारी मिल रही है कि वो और जगह पे भी, बहुत जगह पे इसी काम के लिए गया है, धार्मिक काम के लिए गया है, कन्वर्शन के लिए गया है। इसके लिए वो सभी संस्थाओं से जुड़ा हुआ है। तो हमारी भी अभी मांग यही है कि वो किसके साथ में जुड़ा है, इसकी जांच की जाए।
संदीप जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। और आपने कहा कि जेम्स वॉटसन जिस तरह से उनके संगठन के साथ वो काम कर रहा था, और एक इलाके की बात नहीं कर रहे, कई इलाकों में जाकर कन्वर्जन रैकेट किया जा रहा था। आज ये सिर्फ शुरुआत है, और रिपब्लिक टीवी से जो जिस तरह से इन्वेस्टिगेशन से जानकारी निकल कर आ रही है कि सिर्फ एक नहीं, कई लोग इसके साथ जुड़े हुए। थैंक यू वेरी मच संदीप जी। दिस इज जस्ट द टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन। वी हैव जस्ट बिगन द इन्वेस्टिगेशन। देयर इज अ बिगर कन्वर्जन रैकेट which seems to be now coming out. There is a pattern that basically emerges. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine taking your child to the doctor for a routine checkup. A simple cough, that's nothing out of the ordinary. You trust the system, the medicine that has been handed over with a reassuring smile coming in, that too from the doctor. But instead of healing, that very bottle becomes a vessel of death, poison. And this is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, what we are essentially going to show you is the reality for dozens of families in not just in the state of Madhya Pradesh, but also in Rajasthan. Republic, in fact, was the first to blow the lid of the horror of the poison masquerading as medicine manufactured by the elusive Srishan Pharmaceuticals in Tamil Nadu. It turns out that the owners are on the run, but there is a bigger story that is now emerging. The fight that is now emerging between the politicians and the doctors. But first, take a look at this report.
The families of at least 18 children are mourning unbearable losses. Young lives pushed towards death after being administered a killer cough syrup. 2 children in Rajasthan, 16 others in Madhya Pradesh, while several others battle for life in critical care. Republic was the first to expose a staggering 48% toxic composition in the killer cauldron syrup, a number 480 times higher than safety standards. The doctor in Madhya Pradesh who was prescribing the drug was arrested in the state earlier.
ये दवा इत्तेफाक का है, सहयोग का है, जो भी कहें, आपके द्वारा ही सबसे ज़्यादा लिखी गई है। 5 पर्चे हमारे पास हैं। कोल्ड ड्रिप
सही है, ठीक है कि मेरे द्वारा लिखी गई, अब जब है तो है, उसमें कोई बात ही नहीं है।
और आपकी क्लिनिक के बगल में ही आपका मेडिकल स्टोर है जिसकी प्रोप्राइटर आपकी पत्नी है, वहीं से सबसे ज़्यादा बिकी है।
सामने से भी बिकी हुई है, 3 मेडिकल स्टोर हैं, इसको मिला के 2 मेडिकल स्टोर हैं। हम लोग किसी को कभी कुछ नहीं बोलते कि कहाँ से लाएगा कहाँ से नहीं लाएगा।
And now, Republic has tracked down the company in Tamil Nadu that manufactured Coldriff.
Well, the police have now on a search for the Shrisan Pharmaceuticals owner, where he's missing from Kanchipuram unit where he was supposed to be there. But however, the police, when they went there after sealing the company, have not been able to find him. The state health secretary also speaking to us stated that only when the investigation is underway, they'll find out what has exactly happened, especially because they have to find out whether it is just this one batch of the cough syrup that is being adulterated with the brake solvent, or if not, there are more batches. However, they've stopped the supply of this Coldriff syrup.
Investigation shows fake addresses were given by Shrishan Pharmaceuticals to get licenses, while the owner remains at large. No accountability, no responsibility. Poison sold in a bottle to dozens of families without checks. At least 5 states now have suspended the license of this killer syrup Coldriff, placing a complete halt on its manufacturing. Amid these developments, the Union Health Ministry has issued a nationwide advisory warning doctors not to prescribe cough syrups to children under 5. Nationwide inspections have begun across 6 states, led by experts to check drug quality and plug regulatory loopholes. Big pharma firms, suspended officials, grieving parents, and a killer drug. This crisis is now a litmus test for India's drug safety system.
Well, in fact, the first response is now coming in from the Indian Medical Association demanding immediate action against the real culprits for failing to monitor the deadly levels of the DG in the product. The IMA, in fact, has condemned the hasty arrest of the prescribing pediatrician as a diversion tactic and a case of defamation against a bona fide doctor, saying that the focus must shift to systemic regulatory failures. Dr. Bhanushali, who is also the head of the Indian Medical Association, joins us. Dr. Dilip Bhanushali, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. You say that there is a systemic failure. Who exactly is responsible? Because as we understand, this particular drug was actually banned. Regulators had brought in the ban, but it turns out that despite the ban, the pharmaceutical company carried on and the doctors were also aware of it. Perhaps the reason why action was taken against the doctor was the fact that perhaps he was aware of the fact that there was a ban in place.
Let me add to onset from Indian Medical Association, we convey our sympathy and condolence to the bereaved families. Unfortunately, we have lost 13 to 14 young children, blaming the doctor, right? A manufacturer who's been doing this and supplying these medicines to in the market. In what way doctor is responsible for that?
Could that have been possible? Dr. Bhanushali, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Was there a possibility that the doctors would have been aware? Because this is a pharmaceutical company that had come under the scanner of the regulatory body. And doctors would generally be aware of such actions being taken in the past. Wouldn't he have exercised caution?
These drugs were procured by the government hospital, right? So where was the doctors working in the government hospitals? They are sure that the concerned authorities must have taken proper precaution before supplying this.
You are saying that the government is squarely responsible for allowing this to happen. And to help us understand, if there was a ban that was put in place, how did they manage to bypass that and still carry on the distribution, and that too distribution at government hospitals?
That's the question. That should be the inquiry, total impartial inquiry on this. Who is responsible for this? How it came to the hospital? What were the drug controllers doing this? And what was the hospital doing this?
But how is it possible, Dr. Bhanushali? Because what we are all perplexed about is that despite a ban, you have the company that had its operations on. It turns out from the investigation that we have carried out that they were operating from, they had operating from fake addresses. And in fact, it turns out that licenses were also obtained by giving fake addresses.
That is the problem. That is the problem. In spite of being banned, how does the drug entered into a government hospital pharmacy? That should be investigated. Who are the culprits in this? And what were the drug controllers? And most importantly, what did they do up to the manufacturers?
Dr. Bhanushali, one final question I want to take from you is with regards to the demand. With regards to the demand that has been made by the Indian Medical Association, and I believe that you would have a preliminary assessment of the situation. To go beyond what you have already put out in the statement, is there an assessment that you all have been able to make after speaking to the doctors? Who exactly do you believe is actually wrong here? Who allowed it? And not one state, we're talking about 2 states.
That's true. See, in Rajasthan, 2 children had died earlier, and subsequently government gave a clean chit to them about the drug. Now, this tragedy happens in Madhya Pradesh, comes to in a government hospital, in some Pradhan Mantri Yojana they were procured. When it comes to that, does it the responsibility of the government and the concerned authorities to check the purity of the drugs? The drug controller, what was he doing for this? And what do you see? As a doctor, they were made the scapegoat. He was arrested midnight at 2 o'clock. What was his fault?
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhanushali, for joining us on this broadcast and putting across the perspective of the Indian Medical Association. Serious questions now being raised about the role of the regulators too. Shift focus now to the final exclusive story that I'm getting to you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, days after there was a proposal of the peace to be brought in Gaza, US President Donald Trump called on Israel and Hamas to move fast on the Gaza peace initiative, warning that a failure to do so could actually result in massive bloodshed. Now, his statement comes ahead of expected negotiations between the 2 sides in Egypt, raising hopes for a powerful and potential ceasefire. The initial phase of the plan is expected to prioritize the release of hostages. Israel, however, has been clear. Benjamin Netanyahu has made it clear that Hamas would be disarmed either through a diplomatic channel or military action, and signaled that Israel would not really carry out a full withdrawal from Gaza. Where does this put the Palestinian Authority? In fact, we spoke to the Palestinian ambassador earlier today. This is what he had to say about the truce that is likely to take place, and where does the Palestinian Authority really find itself in the current situation.
Hello, Ambassador. A very welcome to Republic TV, and thank you so much for joining us at the very, very critical juncture. As we look forward, a very crucial meeting is supposed to take place today between Israel and Hamas in Egypt as far as the indirect talks on implementing the Gaza peace plan by Trump is concerned. So my first question to you is that what would be the view of the Palestinian Authority regarding the ceasefire and the peace plan as far as being currently discussed on Gaza?
Thank you so much indeed for having me today, and many thanks, of course, for Republic TV. Indeed, in the eve of the October 7th, which we should also remember at that exact day 2 years ago, it was the issue was not calm, but unfortunately it happened, and we are living the consequence of October 7th and the root of the issue, which is the Israeli occupation. And before the Israeli occupation, it's the displacement of the Palestinian people and Nakba 1948. And the essence of it, of course, is the issuing of the Balfour Declaration 1917. But back to your question, of course, which is very important question. We in the Palestinian Authority have very clear cut, cluster clear position long time ago. even before this war, we are with any effort that will put an end to the ongoing carnage on Gaza. We are with any effort that will put an end to the genocide. Textbook genocide is what's happening on Gaza.
Ambassador, as you have rightly mentioned that the war should stop. Now, my question to you is, as far as the truce is concerned, how far Palestine is going to agree to this truce? Because, we are looking forward to very important talks between Israel and Hamas. And we have seen there is an international pressure coming in from the US President Donald Trump warning both the sides that, to fasten up as far as the peace plan is concerned, the Gaza peace plan is concerned. What could be your stand on this? And also, when we talk about just and lasting peace, what's your take on that?
Two things. We are under the Israeli occupation. Gaza had been hit approximately, according to the reports, with more than 150,000 tons of explosive material. We are the one who is under the siege. We are the one who is killed in a daily pace. We are the one who is suffering of hunger. We are the one who is suffering of malnutrition. So that we are the one who is looking to end the war. And our stance is very clear. All the Palestinians, regardless of their different name of political faction, they are in agreement to end this war. And this is our request long time ago. So that even when Hamas agreed on this and on Mr. Trump's comprehensive plan, it agreed on it in pace. It will end the war itself.
Right.
Just